Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to We Will Survive. My name is Kathy Brooks, and I am a psychologist, a professor, a mother, a cat mother, and a human being, everybody. Just trying to make it one day at a time. I know that I have been off social media for a while. I was dealing with some personal stuff and trying to get my health together. But the other day, my son texted me an article about my very favorite musician, Kirk Franklin, who was in an argument with his son. And I'm just going to say argument because what I'm not going to do on this is beat up to Kirk Franklin because I love me some Kirk Franklin. Okay. That being said, I wasn't angry with him. I was disappointed. Um, but I understand the life and the road that Kirk Franklin has traveled. It is not my testimony; it is his testimony. He has always been freely giving of his testimony, and so he has never put himself out there to be perfect or anything like that. He's always said that he's just trying to make it, and I respect that wholeheartedly. I do. So this video is not about Mr. Franklin. It is about the discussion that came out of a viral video that his son Carry On put on social media. So I said I listened to the video. I was disappointed, as I said, and I said a prayer for both of those men, both of them. There were high emotions on both sides. And then I kind of put it in the back of my mind, to be honest, because once you give something over to God, you're supposed to let it go. And that is my belief, and that is normally what I do. But today, I was just listening to some of my favorite YouTubers, and I was super shocked about one thing. I thought what some of my disappointment came because I knew that the language that was used in the video um, would alert church people. This is what I knew, right? And church people can be questionable. They can. They tend to judge everybody about everything. And so when I heard the YouTubers talking about the video, I was expecting that they were going to say some negative things about Kirk, and I was going to be disappointed about that too because, again, I love that man. From the first, the reason why we sing to today, it is what it is. Like, I just love Kirk Franklin, and that's what that is. So I was super shocked, super shocked that the folk were not judging Kirk at all. In fact, they were relating to him and they were judging his son. And they were judging that son harshly, very harshly. Um, and I was surprised. I was surprised. I cannot say that I wasn't. But this made me think about the very reason that I started the vlog, We Will Survive. And that is PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, in the Black community. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my focus remains on the Black community because that's my business. That is what I am concerned about. It doesn't mean I don't care about other people, but you take care of home first, right? And my home is the Black community. And so that's who was talking to because, that's how we do. So the reason I was drawn back to the beginning was the responses that I heard. People were saying that the son was disrespectful to his father, and he deserved what he got. And then it kind of took me back to another place that I was not expecting to go. And that reason brought me to you. I don't know how you feel about that, but I hope that it's okay for you. Some reason that um, our parents cursed us out, and then they beat our A's too. I'm not a cursing woman, so bear with me because it's a couple times I'm gonna curse the way I curse, and it's not the way other people curse. So, it is what it is. And that's and that is what it was. That's what people were saying. Our parents did it to us, and that's what it is. And one caller into one of my favorite shows said that she was in her mid 30s and that her mother had cursed her out yesterday, and she was okay with it. And I said, wow, if that is not PTSD, I simply do not know what it is. Why do we think it is acceptable for our parents to be abusive? Why? Um, I never got that. And I'm going to tell you that I had a problematic relationship with my mother. And yeah, that's what it is. So the woman didn't see anything wrong with that. I'm going back to staying on track. Staying on track. So she didn't see anything wrong with her mother cursing her out, but I did. Disrespect was on both parts of this video. Parents should respect their children. I believe that wholeheartedly. And children should respect their parents. Point blank, in my opinion. Um, so, of course, the church folk did call in and they were quoting some Bible verses to back up their perspective. The commandment to honor one's human parents is compared to honoring God. Um, and I'm quoting, "You shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am the Lord your God." That's Leviticus 19:3. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. And that is Exodus 20:12. You hear that one all the time, at least I do. However, I didn't hear anybody mention God's directions to the parents. Fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. That's Colossians 3:22, and that's the King James version. Now, the contemporary English version makes it a little bit more clearer. It says, "Parents, don't be hard on your children. If you are, they might give up." Now, the thing about it that I think a lot of parents forget is you chose to become parents, right? Um, Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on with pro life and pro choice, doesn't matter to me. It doesn't. That's your business. But if you're pro life, then you chose by having intercourse with someone, right? So that child, on the other hand, didn't choose to be born to you, right? So they are kind of like a "this is what it is" kind of thing. But you went in with your eyes wide open. And I hear parents say, and I heard a lot of the callers saying, I did everything for my children. I sacrificed. I did this. You're supposed to. It's called being a parent. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to provide for your children. And it's nice if you have the wherewithal to give them a little something extra sometimes, right? That's what you're supposed to do. You get no brownie points for doing what you're supposed to do. Um, but for some reason, people think that the children are supposed to bow down and just say, thank you for having me. No, I don't thank you for having somebody and then being mean to them. I thank you if you take care of them and treat them kindly, because that's what the Bible tells you to do, right? Um, so what does that look like? How does it look like PTSD? Well, we have an entire society of angry, broken children who do not believe in themselves based on what their parents have said to them or what their parents have done to them and shown them. I can attest to that in my own personal life. I don't often talk about this kind of stuff, especially, on the internet. So bear with me for a moment. I grew up in a single parent home after the age of 4. My parents were married. My father had cancer and he died when I was 4 years old. My mother also had kind of a chronic illness, um, but she did take care of us, right? Um, she drank a lot. When she drank, it made her dislike me more. Now she disliked me, period. But when she drank, it made her dislike me more. How do I know? She told me. People have said to me, parents just say that to their children. They don't mean it. But let me tell you something. If somebody tells you something for your entire life and they show you the same thing, it's in line, it's in sync. Why would you not believe it? I don't know, but people don't like the idea of parents not liking their children, but there's evidence of it all around the globe. That there are some parents who don't care for their children. My mother just happened to be somebody who didn't care for me. It is what it is. I say that now at my age. It wasn't what it was back then. Um, She cursed me out every single day until I was the age of 15, with the exception of days where I spent the night somewhere else. And I did that a lot, as often as I could. I went to my aunt's house as often as I could. I went to my cousin's house in the summers as often as I could. When I got my friends, I as often as I could. I would spend the night with them just as often as I could up until the age of 17 when I went away to college. So that's what that really was. And my friends, those who were close to me, got a good glimpse of what my life was like. And, they asked me often, like, why doesn't she like you? So I know that I was right with that one. Uh, Now she wasn't all bad. She was not all bad. There are some people who said that she was sweet. That's what they tell me. They didn't know what her. She probably was sweet to them. She provided food and she provided good food. We ate well. She provided clothing. I personally never went without clothing or know what I needed, and sometimes what I wanted. Uh, she hugged and kissed me, and she said that she loved me. Now, I told you she said she hated me too, right? So keep that in mind. But she said that she loved me all the time and hugged me and kissed me. And the duality thoroughly confused me. You call me every name in the book, right? Some names I didn't even understand until I got some age on me. I was called a whore. I was called the B word. I was called the MFer. All of that before going to elementary school. I was beaten with snow shovels, vacuum cleaners, belts, punched. Um, so you can understand why the duality of all of that confused me. So fast forward to 2021. You don't want my whole life story. You probably don't want that, which I gave you. I'm still going to give you a little more, just because it's cathartic sometimes. Fast forward, and then you will find a woman who has never trusted when people say, I love you, has never had a really successful relationship. I've had very long relationships, but they were not successful. The better the man was to me, the shorter the relationship. Now I have never had an abusive relationship, nor has a man ever cursed at me. Those are like the overt signs of abuse that I could not accept. I promised myself, even as a kid, when I grow up, nobody's going to tell me what to do. Nobody's going to curse at me, and nobody's going to hit me. Right. So that's what I promised myself as a child. And I did keep most of that. I mean, people tell me what to do kind of regularly. My son tells me what to do, but I know that he actually loves me and he's telling me stuff for my own good. So I do give attention to what he says. When I go to work, people tell me what to do all the time at work, and it's expected. I had no idea as a child that I would work. I had no intentions of working, none. As a kid, I thought I would grow up and I wanted to have a lot of kids because it was only my sister and I in our home, and it was a little boring. So I said, when I grow up, I'm gonna have 10 kids, back to back. I had no idea. Had no idea. Yeah, that's clear. So I have one child. Uh, So it's never been overt stuff, but there are some covert signs that can destroy the very soul of a person. And I can testify of my damage. I can attest to the hard work that I've gone through to heal myself. The hardest part was understanding why I sabotaged basically my entire youth, my relationships, my career, my life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am not bragging, but I have an IQ of a genius. My IQ is 146, but I am just really getting it together. And I am closer to retirement age than to the beginning of a career. But that's where I'm at because I sabotaged myself. The very first real sabotage that I guess that I recognize, maybe I'll say that, was dropping out of college after 2 years and then working in paraprofessional jobs for the next 10 years before actually returning to college and starting my professional journey. Um, I didn't have to do that. Like, I just really didn't have to do that, but I sabotaged it. There were times I would schedule my own classes, and I scheduled 8 o'clock classes, knowing anybody who knows me knows that I'm not that girl. Like, I don't like early morning, period. Like, I just don't like early morning. I stay up right now. Well, it's not late now. It's not late right now, but normally I'm up. I'm talking to my cousin on the phone. Because he's a night owl too, but he doesn't mind the morning. I kind of mind the morning and always have. So why did I schedule 8 o'clock in the morning classes? Sabotage. Romantically, I allowed men, and I'm not mad at any of them. I am cool with my exes. I am because I allowed them to mistreat me. I allowed them to cheat on me without any consequence. I didn't even really get mad about it. I got sad. I was hurt. Um, I'm pretty sure now that I deserve better, but now I deserve it. You see what I'm saying? I moved from Pennsylvania to Arizona to kick off a new life. And it's been a struggle. I'm not going to say that it's been easy, but um, yeah, I now know that I deserve better. And I think that struggle, especially my first year in Arizona, I think it was necessary for me to understand that some of the things that I accepted were unacceptable. Again, no cursing, no beating, but the men really were not bad men. I'm still cool with them. Um, I simply did not require more, so they gave what they gave. Did I say that my mother called me the B word and whores and everything, even in my single digit years? So I did not grow up thinking I deserved to be treated well, right? So in my mind, I was thinking, well, they're not cursing at me, they're not hitting me, I'm not afraid of them. So all is well, right? Except I allowed them to mistreat me. And it took me a while to get that. It did. I had a conversation not that long ago that tells me that I'm not all the way healed, where I said that, cheating is not a deal breaker for me. And it still isn't. And I know I need to get to the place where it is. But it's not to me because I think there's so much worse that people can do to you. And how about all of that is unacceptable, cheating included, right? Maybe if I expect more, I'll get more. So I want you to know that even though my mother called me these things, I was not a whore. If I was a whore, I am so bad at it, right? Because it just hasn't been a lot of men. It just really hasn't. I mean, there have been long relationships, but I haven't had a lot of men. That's because I allowed for unnecessarily long relationships that went nowhere, right? Because somewhere along the line, I decided I didn't want to get married, right? I saw that men were, um, would hit people, they didn't treat people well. Some of the men I know uh, who were who my friends were with um, didn't even want to help them with their illnesses. Um, and yeah, just didn't want to help them at all. Didn't want to work with them. Didn't want to um, do the things that would keep them alive. I mean, serious things. Diabetics should not have soda, right? That's simple. Uh, there's they should have a certain diet. Um, I'm not going to get into that because I'm not going to get it. That'll make me mad. So I'm just going to say that I saw other people's relationships, and some of them were married, and I saw that they were not treated, specifically well. And so I talked to myself into thinking I don't want to get married because that looks like it sucks. And living by myself was okay, and it still is. I don't mind living by myself. It's kind of nice. But here I am at a well seasoned age, essentially alone, right? Starting over. When I had my son, I was determined to do something different, right? What I know is that I did not want him to have a life like this. I didn't want him to be at the age I am. Um, Trying to start it and get it together. In fact, now I learn stuff from him. So I was determined to do something different. I was not going to beat him up. I was not going to beat him up. I was not going to pick up anything that was close and break it over his head. I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to put marks on my child. I wasn't going to draw blood. I wasn't going to say stuff like, I brought you into the world and I take you out, because that's a veiled threat, a threat of murder. I love that man. I love my child. I would never want to hurt him. I want his life to be all good. So I didn't do that. I didn't curse at him. I didn't call him names. I didn't want to destroy his soul. And I'm not perfect. I was not a perfect parent. Um, but I am super proud of the man that my son has grown into. I really am. Um, I'm proud and I'm grateful that he loves me. I am. And I really believe that he loves me. And that was part of my healing of myself, was to give myself to him. And then he gave love back to me and I was able to accept it. I hope that makes sense to you. But before him, I was not able to accept it. So people say they love me, I would be like, okay, okay. And I knew I loved people. You know what I mean? There are people like I love my family. I love all of my family. My first cousins mean everything to me. You know what I mean? Like not just my sister, my son, like not like that. I love my entire family. I love them, all of them. But I would never say it to them. I would never say it to them because I didn't want to hear like a silence or something. You know, I didn't want to say. So growing up, my aunt Eunice was my very favorite person on earth. Ooh, 1 second. So in real life, I'm not an emotional person. Ah, okay. So she was my favorite person. I'm pretty sure she'll always be my favorite person. Is That's my aunt. But I never said like I love you and stuff until I was old by the time I told her. I'm so happy that I got a chance to say it. I'm pretty sure I showed it to her. At least I tried to. My uncle. So I'm going to get off of this because I am not getting ready to cry. That is not going to happen. So, okay. Get back to Jack. I mean, my son. I never had to tell him not to disrespect. I never had to say, don't disrespect me. I never had to say that. Not one time. And I believe it is because I never disrespected him. What I did is I modeled respect. Again, not perfect, but there's some places that I'm not going to go. And I love that boy. Darn it. Oh, God. Get old and sappy, I promise. So, anyway, I'm grateful that he loves me. I never had to tell him, how to treat me. And he is my best friend. And I heard some of the people saying that you're not supposed to be your child's friend, you're supposed to be their parent. Well, we never got the roles confused. I am his parent, and when it's parental stuff, he comes correct. And when it's like I need to talk to somebody, I'm grateful that he chooses to talk to me about things that matter. Um, yeah. So we have a great relationship, and that is the thing I am most proud of. Yeah, I raised him in the church, and my life kind of resembled what God directed. Not perfectly. So, I mean, it just simply was not perfect, not at all. But um, the respect allowed him to come to me and to talk to me and real talk about real things. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. I would not. There's nothing that you could give me um, that will make me want to change that. So I say to all of the people who bragged almost, in my opinion, that they curse their kids out and and they beat their kids up. And, even if their children are adults, like my son is 33 years old. Um, and they said, they will still do this and that. And it just hurt me. I watched a show called 90 Day Fiance, and I think it was the last season. One of the characters, characters, one of the people on the show said something that I have brought into my vocabulary because it was so. It was three words that when she said it, I got it. Like there was no confusion. And when I hear people talk about their children in the ways that I've heard in these last couple of days, it makes my heart crack because I'm one of those children, because I live in a world with so many of those children, and you wonder why there's so much violence and why people, don't treat people well. I talked about not being treated well, but what will make those men mistreat me? Um, it's a generational thing that we need to get it together. We need to get it together. And so I don't blame them for how they treated me. I blame myself for allowing myself to be mistreated. Um, and when I hear people, it just does make my heart crack. So I'm going to end here. I've become a blubbering person in my old age. Lots and lots of emotionality, which I am not used to. But it is what it is. So I just want to say to those of you who are blessed to have children, be they young or be they old, um, just love one of them because that's what the world really, really needs, right? I mean, we are in a situation, especially now with the pandemic, with the racial stuff that's going on in our country. Like Trump is still saying stuff as recently as today, and his people are still saying stuff and they're still doing stuff to people. And it's just so much anger. It's just so much anger. And people are hurt. And I think that some of them had cracked hearts too. I do. PTSD is not only about war, but this is war. When you're trying to get yourself treated well, when you're trying to receive love and to give love, this is real. So as I get older, it has not gotten easier. But one thing I do know is that God gives us strength to get through each and every day. And He allows you, if you want to find the things that are keeping you bound, He'll take you through it and He'll give you victory over it. That's it. I'm getting ready to get it too much. So I'm going to sit down and probably think about going to bed sometime soon. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, um, please, before you do anything, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, please. And I'll be back soon. Have a great day.